Hey everyone, welcome back.
Hello.
Really quickly into the next series as they were already prepared, ready
Because
to
I didn't
go.
really ask, but I'm assuming I'm doing the ads, right?
Yes, it's
Boom, nailed it. All right, so this one coming up is going to be TLO versus. Oh, you really did use that break screen? Okay, he swapped it. Never mind.
I swapped it.
TLO versus Beastie for the second and last qualifying spot. Any spots after this are all going to be done through invites, so it's pretty much do or die here for a lot of the players, especially these two. Uh, to hope that we'll invite you back is a pretty big thing. Favoritism definitely caters to people who do well in these qualifiers, but also people who consistently play on our stuff are the ones we want to reward with a chance to play for Ting and give the exposure to on stream, etc., etc. So don't expect too. You're not going to see anything too crazy coming out of these invites, that's for certain.
So this is certainly a problem that I had initially, but TLO meant to choose Frozen Temple first, not Frost, but he got the names crisscrossed. So everyone, head over to the next party.
All right. I'll make the tweet about this. The last qualifier spot coming up: TLO versus Beastyqt TvZ best of 3 on BaseTradeTV. And to talk about the players already qualified through for Europe, we already have a bunch of Zerg. So I'm rooting a little bit against TLO on this one, I'm not going to lie. But of course, the nice thing is with so many invites this season, instead of just one, we can certainly even out that racial distribution. So even if TLO is the one who qualifies, that's perfectly fine. Because last season we learned our mistakes that there was just way too much imbalance when it came to the races.
Yeah, there was. It was pretty bad. Of course, me streaming, no intros. Not that we've been super on par with them anyway.
Yeah, too
Yay.
many problems, too many issues.
Man, I don't know how it's been. This happened last time? No, I don't even think so. But just this past week has been a lot of technical difficulties.
Yeah, I know, and it sucks because we go so long without them, and then boom, just out of nowhere. But maybe that's the problem because we've been doing so much. The
Oh,
computer's just like,
oh.
finally, no, I quit. I'm on
Yeah,
break.
I'm donezo. I had that break. I want to go back to
You can
break.
call your last name Washington, Dunzo Washington.
Okay, so in the top left, kind of, he is the teal Terran Beastyqt.
And of course, his opponent's spawning in the bottom right. Both competing for this qualifier spot. It's going to be the red Zerg player, Team Liquid's TLO.
Yeah.
Who it always tells me like TLO is in a lot of instances I think unfairly the underdog. Like a lot of people focus on like the creative play and kind of brush him off, but like when we do see him play at his best, he is actually kind of a beast. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to see if his creative tactics also cover his opponents getting creative with their tactics, as Beastie is once again proxying on this map. It looks like it doesn't matter whether it's Zerg or Protoss, proxy barracks, couple of Reapers. It's a dangerous mix.
Yeah, he is going for the Reaper variation, which is, I definitely think people have, it's just stronger. Even on maps that can do well, like Arena with Marines, Reapers are the way to go. And Frozen Temple is not a bad map for Reapers. It's not, like, super, super duper great, like, Polar Knight, that's what I was thinking of. But even Polar Knight wasn't that great. It was only good for Blink Stalkers. But anyways, it does have this long ridge right here. And of course another area, but up to the top to get through. And more importantly, you just hope that they don't. Oh wow, ooh, 3-Rax Reaper. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
this is super dedicated. This went from being like something you can actually pull back from depending on your damage to Beastie's all in.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No ways. You can't afford a fourth. You can actually afford a fourth if you're going for Marines, but not if you're going for gas as
You can
well.
do 4-Rax Reaper.
Really? You can go for gas?
5 is when it gets dodgy, because that's
Oh
when
my
you
god,
question
you're
like
right.
building a reactor or not.
You're right. There he goes. Okay, so 4-Rax Reaper proxy versus Zerg. This is... What's so funny, though, is that we've seen 2-Rax and 3-Rax proxies versus Zerg win games, like, really, really well, so it almost seems unnecessary to get the fourth one.
If you look up the definition of dedicated in the dictionary, you know what you're going to see?
4 axes?
No, the definition of dedicated, idiot.
Eh. Well, by now, TLO knows something is up. That second Reaper got here way too quick. Well, the first Reaper got here way too quick as well.
Yeah.
So...
The Spine Crawler is an interesting choice because the Spine Crawler unfortunately will not cut it against Reapers a lot of the time. They just throw the grenades and back away. Roaches seem to be the most definitive way to deal with this, although we have seen Speedlings do well in the past. It's hard to say that they're ever what feels like the best way. Like, they're just not. Like, objectively speaking, I think Ravage is always going to be the best just due to the unit design, but TLO's nowhere close to getting Roaches out. He's He's got speed coming soon, but there might be too many Reapers by the time he's got Lings enough to deal with this. And if BC gets a couple of lucky grenades on top of well-aimed grenades, this gets a bit awkward. Let's say the map cleaning up 2 of these Zerglings might distract him from his Reaper control. Looks like not going to be the case, though. Grenades hit those Queens hard. First one going to go down. Transfuse, where are you?
Ooh, last second on basically the full health Queen anyway. One Reaper has gone down, a second one goes down. That's actually a pretty good start. Baneling Nest is a very odd choice, but it
I
can either...
think he's looking to bust.
Yeah.
He's not looking to play defense. He wants to bring BC back home with an attack.
Yeah, he can just counterattack, and I mean, you can also try and play like a couple of clever tricks, like bannings on the low ground, bannings on the high ground type of deal, but I think the bust is probably the better option if you're going to be forced into Banelings. The Reaper count... What's so funny though is that, okay, say all the Banelings die, and you just, like, you know, you let your drone side back at home too. Like, Reapers will still... Oh,
He's
no.
done this.
Yeah, actually, he didn't even need the Banelings. Wow, that just...
BC lost too many Reapers. I mean, losing the first 2 was actually still manageable, but losing
Yeah.
more after that got really out of hand.
It is really funny though how much it snowballs in the reverse way. You know, it snowballs just in general, right? Like either like you're winning and you're killing a bunch of drones, or you lose 1 Reaper, then 2, and suddenly it's 5 Reapers down very, very quickly after that, because of course they're better in numbers. But okay, quick qualifying matches potentially. Second map will actually be Frost. It's the original intention. I don't know what the third map is.
Oh, for those who are bringing this up in chat, I was just kind of talking earlier. I'm not actually looking to spend the money on the computer. My teeth are far more important, because right now, if I get to the point where I can't speak, then it doesn't matter how good my computer is. So I thank you guys for your concern, but that wasn't like a serious statement I was making earlier. More of like an offhanded comment. A passing thought.
Okay. They're just worried about you, Rifkin. Okay, so I guess the last map is going to be Dusk. Which is quite boring. I do enjoy our new maps, Frost and King Sejong.
I really do want to bring one of the Team Liquid maps into the main stage of Ting, though. I'm really curious which ones make it through. Because while we may not see it a lot, I still think having that extra map, kind of like what we did with Detox last season, will be a lot of fun.
Did you see Namaste's changes?
No. I know he made changes. I didn't see them, though.
Avex took the criticism, I guess, we said on stream, and maybe he's heard it from other sources as well, pretty seriously. You know, I mentioned how the bottom just looks it's pretty bland and no one's going to use it. So I think he reduced the size. It's no longer as big of a map as it was vertical-wise. And then he, I think, got rid of 1 or 2 bases. So it's actually, like, it doesn't look like it's just a bunch of, like, bare area down to the south. I think he changed the north, too, because people were, like, Nurchio mentioned that it's too cluttered, actually. So it was, like, too cluttered on top, not cluttered enough on bottom. And he changed some of the pathways. So it's actually a very different-looking map, but still very pretty.
Interesting.
Yeah. When I thought, like, you know, they'd take a criticism, I imagined they would change, like, bugs, first of all, and then maybe, like, 1 or 2 very small things. But he just actually, like, overhaul the map. So I wonder if other map makers doing the same thing.
Well, I don't know. Personally, I would obviously lobby for New Gettysburg. Because I really think even without the air blockers, I still think the map is dynamically interesting. And hell, you could even remove the island bases altogether. I still think that's a really cool map.
I agree. I actually like the dynamic of, you know, the bridge compared to basically a macro game if you're going to go across the top. Okay, they're both ready. But there's a ton of other ones that are probably higher up in the running. The non-weird ones, I suppose. As that was one of the new maps. Here we go. Into Frost. All about the Frost tile set.
They're not penises, I'm sorry. They just really are not.
No, you're gonna be the one obsessed with it. Okay, in the bottom right, he is unfortunately down 1 after a failed cheese. It is the pink Terran Beastyqt.
And his opponent on the upper right side, going to be playing for Team Liquid, up 1-0. Great defense in game 1. It's the Red Zerg TLO.
Woohoo!
Now, again, we kind of do these tournaments and these qualifiers and the events a little bit differently, where we get to pick and choose invites. And a lot of the times, more recently, we've been doing invites again, based off of results of what we're seeing in these qualifiers. So again, if we see people like Beasty constantly getting into the qualifier match and then losing, I'm still inclined to give that guy an invite over someone more famous that may have only played in one or not at all. That's not saying we wouldn't still extend invites to people we really enjoy. Like, we're not seeing Happy play here at all. But if there's enough demand for Terran, I wouldn't mind sending an invite. But the point is, after this is said and done, we're going to have to sit down and talk and consider some of these invites, because we do actually have a considerable amount of these, I guess, the groups starting to shape up. You know, all 4 of the Korean ones are now done. Super Alive, Keen, Patience. Today we're going to find out the 4th European with a Laser, Nertio, Hearthstone preceding one of these 2.
Mm-hmm. Actually, so it would be, let's say TLO wins, because this is actually a pretty boring openers from both parties here. It'd be 4 Zerg, 3 Terran, and 4 Protoss.
5
and,
Zergs. You're forgetting Solar from the Wildcard qualifier.
Uh,
If TLO wins, because it's already 4.
Didn't I say 5 Zergs?
You said 4, I think.
I could have sworn I said 5. But,
I could
okay,
have sworn
so
you didn't.
5 Zergs, 4 Protosses, and 3 Terrans. But if Beastyqt wins, then that's 4 Terrans, 4 Protoss, and 4 Zerg. So that
Like, this
actually
really
is pretty
isn't bad at all. Like, last season it was so skewed and so bad where it was like 90% Zerg. So I'm really glad to see them. Of course, it's sprinkled across different regions, but it's still nice to see a little bit more diversity. The Korea qualifier had no Zergs get through, so I mean, you bet we're going to invite people like True and Sulky and whatnot.
cool. Yeah, that's actually kind of funny as I see it. But it's, regardless of whether throughout the regions, like, it's very, very balanced. Very balanced. I mean, it's more than just like, oh, this is better than last time. It's like, oh, wow, this is as about as perfect as you can get.
That's what's cool to me, though, seeing how much it's changed in the last 3 months since Season 1. I mean, it's actually 4 or 5 months because the qualifiers took like a month to do on their own. Like, the game has been tweaked and changed, and to the point where, I guess, again, different per region, but still better nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Link gets that kill up here to the north. Kind of a nice pick
Yeah.
off. Nothing too crazy, though.
Just a scouting SCV. Beastyqt didn't want to. He didn't really bother actually trying to scout, because on a 4-player map, you go for Reapers. You almost got to scout with an SCV pretty fast to get the Reaper to the correct location. But he wanted to look for Overlord kills, which he almost got right here if he had just stayed around a little bit longer. But I guess TLO's Lings were on the hunt, and they're about to have speed, so 2 Marines would have died. We have pretty fast speed for the Overlords. Actually, this is a lot more important. Much faster Baneling Nest, but in a very scoutable location combined with an Evolution Chamber, so I can't even really call that as a Baneling bust. But, like, yeah, like, I don't know, if you guys have only just came into Legacy of the Void, you have no idea how much Legacy of the Void pushed off the Baneling Nest. In Heart of the Storm, you could kind of play, like, fast and loose, like, maybe a little before a lair, but more common kind of, like, while the lair's morphing. In Legacy of the Void, you either see it, like, not at all, because people are going roaches, or, like, 2 minutes after the lair is done. Like, seriously, people don't want to go Banelings against Terran. So see it this early, it's got to be a Baneling bust of some sort, but I guess it's a Baneling drop bust. So, pretty damn cool. This is where the Queens are going to definitely have a job here, though, is make sure that it doesn't scout the very obvious Baneling Nest. Because the same thoughts would go through Beastyqt's head, like, okay, it's an Evolutionary and the Baneling Nest, but it's a Baneling Nest, so it's got to be a bust, right?
I mean, it's TLO, right? Hashtag creative, all that good stuff. I mean, it's not so surprising to see something like this, I guess, a consideration to him. But for Beasty, does he read this? Like, you're right. Like, you see the Baneling Nest, but does that? What is this? Like, the Overlord's coming.
Yeah. Actually, TLO's gonna have to use his Baneling Nest defensively first and foremost. Even though his Overlords are, like, all getting set up. Oh, well, actually, I can't find them now, but... Oh, there they are! There they are! Okay, so if Beastyqt had actually morphed his Hellions into Hellbats, they would have just been, well, carpet bombed, and that actually would have went really well. The Marines would probably been picked up, and not so bad, but... it's gonna be very interesting to see. I think these are better off as Hellions in the situation. Hellbats, unless they are spread really well, are just gonna get, you know, killed by the Banelings. Oh, he's still gonna turn them into Hellbats. We'll see how this works out. I am very, very curious. Even more Overlord drops coming in here. Oh my god. Well, let's see. He's coming in. There's a couple of bunkers. Nothing really fit in them, though. Liberators can only help out so much against Lings in general. The tank was really important. Unfortunately, does not go down, and the wall is still looking strong. All the Banelings have been used. Wall finally goes down. But the tank still being up is super, super important. Especially with a medevac.
this for TLO is such a big dedication, and it just really, I mean, what, 7 workers? Like, that's...
It's not enough.
No.
Thing is, it only was such a good defense, I feel, because Beastyqt saw it. Like, it was lucky that he was attacking and not going for, like, a third CC, you know? Because otherwise, the Baneling drop just would have been a complete surprise. Oh, whoopsie. Get out of game.
Well, that is going to be a nice way to tie this up. So we're going to go to game 3. We're going to play a small break as we get into what is the last match today. So thank you guys for watching. We'll be back in 2 minutes with game number 3.
Hey everyone, let's get into game just right off the bat. So we're ready to go into the third and final game map of the series of the day, as it's the last qualifier as well, between TLO and Beastyqt on Dusk Towers. So not a frosty, wintry little map, is it?
No, but I'm sure we could skin it like one if we asked the AVAX nicely.
Like super nicely, yeah. Well, in the top right, as the pink Terran once again, he is Beastyqt.
And his bone on the bottom left side, going to be none other than Team Liquid's TLO. Both players kind of, it's strange to me, to get to game 3 like this so quickly, they both kind of threw away attacks that just didn't work out for them, getting like way too aggressive for their own good.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Beastyqt, not because he was scouted, but just a little bit of miscontrol. TLO, mostly, I would say, because of scouting,
yeah.
was he the reason he died, so... Always cool to see some new stuff, though. That was the first time I've seen early game Baneling bust drops. So we've seen a couple of Baneling drops, of course, and that's always fun to see in whatever context it is, but not so early game. And it's just unfortunate that Beastyqt was bothering to scout. And I guess unfortunate that TLO revealed the drops, because maybe if he didn't know it was drops as well, he wouldn't have been... Well, I can't even say that, because the drops were the ones that killed the tanks. Well, anyway, he got a tank. He knew that something was up, and that was a pretty safe move from Beastyqt, so smart play. And now, I guess the Dusk Towers, we're bound to have a super long macro game, right? That's how it goes.
Maybe. I guess like in the course of like karma, yeah. But what I'm kind of finding interesting about this is because of the way this danced back and forth so quickly, this has essentially made such an important qualifying match. One game is where the importance falls, and it is that macro game. So I'm wondering if, to an extent for either of them, a lot of it was just getting to this map, a map they could both play more comfortably. We know for a fact through consistent casting, Beastie struggles when it comes to the late game, and he doesn't really have a locked down best way to deal with ultras. TLO, on the other hand, can certainly play ultras. So I'm thinking like, okay, maybe he could have played a decent game on map 2 and stressed himself out, or he may have thought like, okay, I'll just try it all in. If it doesn't work, I have a game 3 on Dusk Towers, a map I can look very forward to.
Yeah, the late game is going to be an interesting one, because even though TLO can play ultras very well, well, any Zerg can, am I right? Beastyqt has, I think, a better chance than, say, Euthermal did versus Nurchio in that best of 15. Dear God. Where he was actually just, he was like trying a couple of different things, but he really never figured out the quite, correct way to turtle Terran, which is still not a guaranteed way to win, obviously. Like, I'm not saying that is the way to do things, and Euthermal was playing it absolutely wrong. But Beastyqt can, and can be actually very obnoxious with his turtling, as any good turtle should do.
Well, I mean, good turtles just don't mutate, turn into teenagers and fight crime. Good turtles just sit in the tank and eat cranberries or whatever you feed them.
Yes, cranberries in particular, yes. So going for a third CC is a little bit risky. So often do we see Zerg players scout this and then actually try and Baneling bust them, and it has like a fairly high success rate, not like a 100% one. But, TLO did just kind of quote-unquote waste, I think the Reaper went down, yeah. There it is. He quote-unquote wasted his Baneling attack already, like Beastyqt is going to be prepped for another aggressive maneuver, and is actually already prepped just by denying scouting with a single Marine here. There's no idea what's going on. Seriously, no idea. Not even the gases. Damn.
I mean, it is a pretty big scout to check out that third CC and realize that it's coming down. For TLO to miss out on this, it means maybe he can't necessarily go for a dedicated all-in. I do like the Baneling Nesting coming down early. I don't know that he's heading this direction where he's going for a Baneling bust. It might work because of the build, but also it'll give him the means to defend if Beastie's pushing early.
Right, I can't quite determine that either, because either it's a Baneling nest because he figures everyone's going for a third CC now on Dusk Towers. I'll just call it. They call his bluff here, because it's not really even a bluff. It's like you just can't see the third CC. Or he was going to use it defensively because I mean, it's kind of an older way to do things because most people, again, are going roaches, but banelings do help against hellbat attacks. It's not a hellbat attack, and it's not an aggressive baneling bust, and the banelings are unfortunately a little bit useless. They're not going to help out against regular Hellions, and they're just going to take up gas that could have been more drones, or just, you know, drones off of mining gas or something the like. So,
well, either way, this is end up being a pretty, like, inconsequential opener. Like, the third CC was risky, could have been bad, doesn't get punished. Same with TLO, going for the baneling so early is a big investment, could have stopped any attack, cost him a couple of drones. So I don't know, this is a funny way for this to start off, but it's just kind of leading towards a normal game.
it is. Again, the banelings at all are kind of funny to see early on, but, you know, this was very standard back in the day, and it didn't really cut your macro game too much that you're just like, oh my god, now TLO's gonna totally gonna lose. It is interesting to see him go for banelings first and then roaches, when if his plan is to go roaches as a composition entirely, like, you could have just gone for those earlier and been safe too, you know, without the banelings. But we'll see if this is for actual roaches, if he's like just opening up pathways, if this is going to be that type of game with roaches but then melee upgrades, like the game we saw with Nurtio games, like all 15 games we saw with Nurtio.
Yeah.
And that's actually going to be waiting on the evolution chambers, which is just now going down. Now, Beastyqt, talked a lot about TLO and what he's doing. Beastyqt is almost set up to attack. He's got combat shields on with his 1-1. He's got medevacs on the way. He could just pick up all his marines and go for a drop. But since he has the Hellions and his army should be coming down soon, there it is now, he could just go for a frontal attack, like a very good old-fashioned standard 3cc bio push with Hellbats.
I do like having the Hellions lift life for the Hellbat push. I feel like we haven't seen this in a while because they're usually used or losed in the early game, but that's a terrible way to phrase that. The +1 timing for this is going to be really nice. The baneling count, really, it's funny though because they can't really afford to be wasted on the Hellbats, yet will be necessary to do so. Hellbat's not out in play just yet because the armory's still not finished. He's going to scan and see those banelings coming in. TLO doesn't have speed on these, but might not need them. There's such a small amount of marines without combat shields.
Yeah, splitting here, again, these were Hellbats, would have been really great in the front lines. Here they turn into Hellbats now. And TLO might just have to give up his 4th base. Really depends on the control of Beastyqt and how confident he is.
I mean, the other thing, too, is there's 2 medevacs, not 1. Usually a medevac at least goes out of energy and they can't keep healing, but with 2 of them going like this, the queens can't even just focus one down. The base is going to finish. He's going to morph in a couple more banelings and hope that cuts it. He's got to wait for speed, though. There's just no way to take this fight, and speed is so close to finishing.
Yeah. Got 2 medics going off to the right side, and TLO is probably going to be very, very focused. Like, it is taking all of his control right now to not waste the banelings and to keep his hatchery alive. So, this is actually going to be pretty tough. Not really any overloads coming off to the right side either until he's basically in TLO's base. At this point, 2 more banelings could be sniped. Oh, just going to pick up.
This is really well handled at TLO, I gotta say. Like, to not dedicate early, to pull back and wait for those upgrades, to risk Beastie just kind of also pulling back and not actually following through on that base. Ooh. This is very well handled. And because he didn't dedicate so much to it, not only does he have more units to run around and defend against these other drops, but he's also got the energy, the gas, the money, everything to move towards that hive tech. Starts a second infestation pit. That's a bit of an oopsie poops.
Yeah, definitely. Very interesting. TLO playing specifically not Mutas, so Ling Baneling with, like, I guess an emergency roach or whatever you want to call it, but specifically no Mutas going straight into that hive.
So people have been drawing attention to TLO's APM. If you want to hit 1 or 2 instead of 1 on the graphs pad.
Oh yeah, I guess
that spikes, Jesus.
Yeah, I've entirely forgotten about the actions per minute. Yeah, that's pretty flippin' high.
No one knows this, but TLO has 5 hands, guys, says chat.
Yeah.
You have to agree with that.
Well, APM or not, it is just what he's been doing with it, which is defending very well. So I mean, it's fine. But it's so interesting now to see Mutas with his composition and going straight up to that hive. Not a lot of Marauders or Hellbats or anything to really soak up the Baneling hit, so it is going to be all about the Marine splitting and maybe like a lucky Widowmine hit here and there. This is kind of like an old-fashioned TvZ here.
His supply count, though, is getting a little bit out of hand, and this is where it gets really worrisome. TLO, I like the idea of pulling on this counter-aggression and keeping BC at home, maybe catching some of the reinforcements. Obviously not going to work right here, but if it's a hit-on engagement that Beastie wants, it's a hit-on engagement he can take. 83 supply to 54.
I find it very interesting that he went so quickly into Liberators. So Liberators are pretty bad against Lings and Banelings because there's usually so many Lings and Banelings. They just, you know, they're not helping a super big amount, but they can help push, same as tanks would, just without the splash, obviously. And of course, they would help a lot against Ultras or Roaches if Roaches are being added in here. But he doesn't know about the Quick Hive. I think that was the lair. Yeah, that was the lair he scouted. He might be figuring it out though because there is a lack of mutas.
Just missed a scan on
oh
this.
my
These
god!
Banelings are gonna
Oh
be so sick.
my god! Oh Jesus! Well then.
That clip button. That was a great hit out of TLO.
Okay, well, I'm glad I got a good picture of that. Third base is actually just gonna be sniped here. The Marauder count did grow as soon as I mentioned, like, hey, where's the Marauders?
The funny thing is the macro hatcheries plays here, so he's still able to mine up this pretty decently. He had more Banelings that burrowed behind this. Should those retreating units be a little too much, but he can't deal with the Liberators, funny enough. So Spore Crawlers maneuvering around. They're going to try and pick this off. Lings might want to come in for another fight to try and keep those Spore Crawlers alive. Banelings and burrow, surprise, surprise from behind. They don't get the greatest hits, but TLO holds this position. And he goes from being down like half the army supply at a point in this game to now being caught up. You also saw him start neural for a second there. Was that a mistake or like a Freudian slip?
I think I'm not sure, but the Ultras Cavern, that's what I was waiting for, and it does go down as soon as I basically think about it. He scans, he's like a hive is on, so he's gonna figure that an Ultras Cavern's like at least halfway or even more probably. Just assume the worst as a Terran basically, or as any race really in StarCraft too. But luckily for him, it's not quite done, so he has time to get more Liberators, and of course he's been making Liberators since the get-go, so while most of them did die, he at least has these upgrades going for him now, too. A couple sneaky Infestors, that's pretty cool to see again. They're going to be able to either blink at Fungals, if the SV count was high enough, or just throw out Infested Terrans, because it's still on the planetary. Oh, it's turning into an orbital, so no planetary at all.
BC's also heading towards the Ghost Academy. Love this move right now. Not just because Infestors are coming out a pretty high number and EMPs will be nice, but Snipes can be absolutely necessary versus these potential Ultras on the way. We've just seen time in and time out, like dealing with these Ultras have been proven to be difficult for even the best Terrans across the scenes.
Yeah. And this is where I'm really glad it got to this point, to be honest. Like, we're going to be able to see how late game Terran vs. Zerg can be played. Now, TLO did play up to Ultras a lot differently than we saw in Inertio, so it's not like we're gonna go be like, hey, you Thermal, check this game out. Like, this is totally gonna be the secret to all your problems.
I forgot to reply to him about that too. Okay, sorry, go on.
But it's gonna be fun to see what it looks like, you know, because Beastyqt, he did his pushes, right? He tried to stop Ultras from happening, or at least like cull the number of Ultras. Kind of worked, like it wasn't like super quick Ultras, but more importantly, he's gotten his own turtle game kind of going. So this lack of planetary looks suspicious at first, but he probably plans on adding, well, first of all, Liberator zones, so there's still not going, there's hopefully not going to be any passing this point, but also like more command centers, more planetaries, maybe even in the middle of the map, depending on how long this game goes. So TLO in turn does have to get a Spire, even though he's pointedly avoided it up until now. He's got to get those Corruptors, and of course he'll eventually want to get to Broodlords.
By the way, when you hit a clip on Twitch, because I just tried to clip it, because I've never done that before.
I heard it.
Yeah, sorry, I got a little bit loud. It's like generating clip arena. They're going full on meme with this clip.
Wow. Aren't they so cool? They're so hip with the kids. Yeah.
So hip with the kids. Okay, well, Medevac, you're going to fly over. There's scans going up to the north. There's a huge burrowed army. What the hell was that? But TLO is on Ultralisks. This is a legit, very scary thing for BCF to deal with. Even if you do have Ghosts and Liberators and all the appropriate things to deal with them, sometimes they are just a little bit too tough to take down.
Well, I guess TLO just needs a break from his 1500 APM. 1800, oh my god! What is it? It's like, is it off the chart? Does it literally not go up that high? It's above 1716. Okay,
what does he do? Like, even if you have 5 hands, how do you effectively press that many buttons so quickly, right? Like,
so jokes aside, you can get up to 1,000 quote-unquote easily if you spam Banelane morphing. We've seen that, we saw it with like Dongrygu back in the day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it go up to almost 2,000. Like, I don't know what he's doing. I feel like it might be a bug, but look, he's at 3,000. He was going to 3,000 at one point. Like, this is not possible.
I'm looking at the graph and it's just like, how?
It's like I don't know what to do anymore.
I feel like it actually legitimately isn't. Our graphs weren't made for this, man. Literally not made for this.
Maybe he's reaching a certain threshold where it just starts like he's actually like at 800 spamming Banelings, but then it just freaks out and goes to 3,000 or something. Like this isn't normal. I feel like it's actually too much for either one of them, to be honest. Usually you see people hovering around 400 or below at a spike, not 600 or below, and in TLO's case, 3,000 or below.
All right,
Anyway.
well, get the attack coming for the right side, but also this left side one, heading at third base. No banlings, really.
No planetary.
Catch what they can. So what do you think, by the way? We're at this late stage of the game. We don't actually have Ravagers to deal with the Liberators. What do you think TLO's thinking about here when it comes to dealing with those?
Corruptors.
Just Corruptors, hoping for the best?
Yeah, just Corruptors. So, I mean, it's not the ultimate solution, especially when you're at this point where both of you really have the, like, ultimate late game composition for each of your races. And you know, for Terran, they have the ultimate SimCity getting set up as well. Corruptors are no longer the easy answer. They can be sniped just as easily. They can go over Marines. There's, like, really not that many Marines here. And, of course, it could eventually go to mass air wars, which would be very interesting, where it's just, you know, it's about Liberators versus Corruptors and Vipers. But pushing across the middle of the map, I think he wants to clear up creep to set up even more SimCity. More missile turrets, sensor tower even.
Yeah. Man, this clips thing is so cool. I love that we can, like, live tweet this out. I just tweeted it out, too, that clip. Ah, it feels so cool.
Ah, oh my god.
I've always been a fan of highlights. I just hated the way the other sites did it, but the fact that it's done through Twitch makes me a happy camper.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, a lot more Corruptors on the way. Of course, getting Carapace first makes a lot of sense, but then getting double upgrades in general, the second Spire makes a lot of sense as well. More command centers on the way for Beastyqt. Like, this is getting to split map Dusk Tower scenario, which isn't totally uncommon, but it's been a while since we've seen it. Maybe like a month and a half.
So, I'm not sure this is confirmed or not. People in chat are saying it is confirmed a bug, and I guess it's just the way it has its hotkey set up. But I like to assume that it is crazy shit. Now, there was an assimilation attempt on the Ghost there. I heard that from the backside. I think he was trying to EMP him, like, get Beastie's Ghost to EMP themselves. That would have been so sick.
That would have been so sick. Just hearing the voice was so damn sick. But oh my god, those Liberators, they're not actually out of liberation mode, so those Corruptors, they were so clumped up they could have been killed.
But the problem for this is a lot of the Corruptors don't have cover now. As the Marines and Ghosts push forward, they're going to be picked off as well. TLO lost the majority of his ground army in that attack. Yeah,
I mean, I saw the Corruptors go in, thought that would be a perfect opportunity, but more importantly, the ground army went well for Beastyqt. That's going to be really good.
There's a lot to kill here. Like,
no, it's actually going to be kind of lame. But nothing else happening. Beastyqt is retreating, so let's watch it.
Shout out, by the way, to Ryan Shooter, just hit us up with a 16-month resub. The guy who made Gameheart and helped us make some of the Civil War stuff. Big love to him. Cool dude. But yeah, this would have been a nice nuke follow-up.
Right? He got another nuke.
Chancer back.
Yeah, I don't think he has a... He only has one Ghost Academy. Maybe if he gets to the 7 bases.
One small detail to note. Liberators are not as good against Corruptors as they used to be, making Corruptors more viable than they were in the past. But the problem is that the more Corruptors you go for, the more you're investing into your air, when really it might be all about the ground. TLO's had a lot of control of this game, but BC's sitting here with, like, crazy ghosts. Like, a crazy amount of ghosts.
Yeah, 18 ghosts, as many Marauders, and basically no Marines. I'm surprised he's any at all at this point. Medevacs are also becoming, I suppose, less of an issue for him. He really wants a lot more of those Liberators. Oh, he's trying to make some.
Well, speaking of which, let's go for the Medevac upgrades! Woo! Yeah, this gives them basically 3 seconds extra boost, which is nice. But also, inadvertently, is like a double buff, because it kind of reduces the time between boosts as well. As the cooldown starts when you hit the boost, then after it finishes.
It can be very useful. Unfortunately, this late in the game, it's probably not going to be for drops. Although, like, maybe. Like, a 4 Marauder drop, even if the Medevac dies to the Corruptors, as long as the army's out of position, could, you know, snipe a Baneling Nest, snipe a Greater Spire. So maybe for a drop, but probably more for escaping situations, escaping fungals, escaping whatever, what have you. Plus, it's just an accessory upgrade, and at this point, we all know that Terrans aren't getting any upgrade that's anywhere. Like, he's probably going to start getting Raven upgrades, too, as they continue to expand. Because eventually he'll add in a couple of Ravens. That's what we've been seeing, at least. I mean, it's always a little bit questionable, because they can kind of be total duds, but they can also be really, really useful. Very abusive spot here. I'm surprised that TLO was pushed back far enough to let BCP take it. So no mining at the very least. That's a lot of Vipers. That's 9 Vipers.
Yeah. That is, like... One EMP is going to wreck
Oh,
everything
the snipes! The snipes, all those queens! They're so bloody.
The ghost! 9
EMP
Vipers,
him!
9 kills on ghosts!
Oh, but he could just EMP with one of those ghosts if they weren't out of energy. Oh, a nuke?
Out of this location. We'll see if this hits anything. Big point
it died.
TLO could still just retreat to the top left side of the map.
Oh, he is retreating. I was gonna say, like, that nuke died, but...
Well, still, a good fight taking on those. Now
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
Broodlords coming out next. I like the Broodlords a lot, actually. Broodlords are going to be... Okay, so for those who know, to interrupt snipes, you can do two things. One is you can just hit them with anything. Like, literally, a Broodling, a Zergling, an Ultralisk. Any damage a Ghost takes will cancel the snipe. But Broodlings will constantly be on top of them, so I like it for this move. The other move is you saw a lot of players go to this sort of trend of just throwing fungal growths out. The tick from the fungal growth prevents them from sniping. Huge problem for Terran to deal with. TLO not having that many fungals, and of course losing a lot of infestors and caster units over the course of the game. Broodlords are in essence a lot more of a renewable resource.
As you can see, Beastyqt is setting up this mid-map defense, which wasn't expected if he was able to push TLO back. So in a way, TLO is already doing a little bit like worse than he would really want by letting this position be given up. You know, after 20 minutes, but still given up. And this is going to be an even harder point to actually contest. So this is where you're going to have to start thinking about drops, Nidus Worms, Burrow, kind of, but of course missiles are coming down as well. And it's going to be complicated. Oh, Viper. Okay. Oh, that Viper didn't want to live. Of course, I think the Broodlords are already scouted long before this. He just added like a ton more on them, so not a big surprise for Beastyqt. But maybe think about less Marauders, as there's no more Ultras. There's not even any more Infestors on the field to snipe with said Marauders. So I think just go back more into that air.
I mean, normally we're used to seeing this position be the Zerg with a big bank and just kind of chilling back, using that free energy to do what they can. But the roles are reversed, and Legacy of the Void's very different. Two planetaries in the middle of the map means TLO can no longer do run-bys. May have to start thinking about things like a Nidus Worm, which would probably be a lot more effective, to be honest, thinking back to those Nerdshio games. But still, for TLO, he's fighting at a very awkward supply count with a very awkward type of supply as well.
His bank is an absolute problem. The type of composition he has is going to be... Eventually, it's going to die. And hopefully it'll trade out well. But it is going to be very expensive to replace. And Beastyqt, I guess he just used all of his minerals on starports and command centers. But still, it's a very big bank and a very consistent income. You should check the income graphs, and he's been winning it quite hard for some time.
Broodlord's trying lots of shots. Marine's starting to push forward, though. Maybe blinding clouds out of these Vipers. I don't know what he's considering at this point, but it's a little bit awkward and very uncomfortable as he's taking a very hard time fighting. Here comes those ghosts on the right side. They're going to snipe everything they can get their hands on, given the opportunity.
Yeah, they're looking for it, but there's still, I think, an Overseer somewhere. Yeah, there's 4 Overseers. There they are. They're behind.
Not the front lines, which is the problem. So these Broodlords
Yeah,
get
a little
dangerously
bit.
close. Some are going to get sniped right
Oh.
away. Viking's picking off the others. Parasitic bombs. Docs, anything?
What? Yeah, anything, really. Viking's such an odd number, I guess he didn't really want to have to use them, but he did have to. And Beastyqt is just, he's chipping away, and he's the one with the better income. And the better, the red reinforcement point as well. Like, whenever he has to retreat, he just goes back to the planetaries and missile turrets, and I'm like, TLO can't chase.
Or orbitals in the bottom.
Yeah. He spent, like, he had a bank, and he spent it all on these flipping command centers, so.
I was going to say, yeah, because we were talking about banks moments ago, and BC had like 2K, and it's just gone, but I guess he's going to make up for that in mules?
Yeah. Well, you know, with this many command centers, you can actually go down to probably 30 SCVs once you have a bit of a comfy bank to fall back on. Start adding to that army supply. Oh, the single marine.
I really don't think TLO is going to take a hit on army engagement. I will say that definitively that this doesn't look good because, as you point out, like the type of army he has is dependent on remaxing and flooding in afterwards. It's hard to say like a Nidus Worm would even win the game for him either, but like I would love to see for him trying to do something, anything to get around this because what he's doing right now is clearly not working. He's slowly being beaten back at every turn.
Yeah. Yeah, his fights aren't going as well as seen other Zergs. This is awkward.
The lightest command center. Oh, sorry, you were here. My bad. Let me hear you take it. Sorry.
Yeah. I really think that Nidus Worms would have been the option if TLO didn't recognize how tightly strapped for cash he was. Because this is it is kind of a rare scenario to see the Terran have so easily the bigger bank, and Zerg the one that doesn't. Usually it's Zerg that has been accruing a bank for some time, and usually has freedom to try a couple of, you know, creative things. So I still think one Nidus Worm would be worth the attempt. He has a consistent enough economy to do at least that, but he's probably not thinking about it right now.
No, it's just to even break these planetaries. Forget that you're gonna have a blinding cloud. Like there's so much fighting and support that they provide in just Sim City that the Terran can hide behind.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest if you could somehow get a Nidus Worm like in the back of the army, like right here or something. But there's like another planetary just sitting there.
Sitting at 1,000 APM right now. No problem. 1400. Excuse me. Excuse me. 1400.
Yeah, excuse you. I don't know. This command center is just polite, but it wanted to kind of hang out, and I was like, oh, okay.
He's probably contemplating actually dropping mules on the gold, but realized
That's
we'll lose it there.
right? Upgrades still being maxed out, I suppose. Beastyqt really prioritizing the attack upgrades, obviously, but now catching up on the plating. TLO still has one more to go. There you go. It's still a bit of a stalemate, but it's one that I have more confidence in Beastyqt, and TLO's fights just have not been going very well. Despite getting what is, slowly and slowly, like, becoming a better composition, getting more spellcasters. The Infestors were missing for quite some time, and the Vipers are just not getting their shots, their spells off.
Well,
Beastyqt, go ahead.
I was gonna say, finally take that gold. I mean, like, because there's the awkwardness up there, right? But finally getting that gold's gonna be nice to get that income back on track, because he has been. Well, I guess Beasty gets it too, but both of them just kind of needing money. But Beasty's got the way better bank.
I was gonna say, if Beastyqt doesn't want to get rid of SCVs, which he could definitely afford to get rid of some, he could also just get rid of Marauders, which he's slowly been doing. Like, he was at 20 Marauders, I think, and...
Yeah. The Marauders were obviously a lot more necessary when it came down to the ground fights, because this has kind of gone to air transition styles. I'm glad BC's not taking the bait. It's really tempting with 3 upgrades on your air weapon upgrades to just go pure Liberator and try and take an air engagement. But the Ghosts are really what's winning in this game, like, without a doubt in my mind. They're too big of a threat for the Ultras. They're zoning out anything they can get their hands on. And they'll kill any air units for free. So, again, like, Beasty's made the right reaction by making no reaction. But, well, this looks a little BM. This is going to give him some minerals, but it actually will take away money TLO could possibly even have on the map.
Yeah. TLO isn't looking so hot. These minerals going down is actually...
He actually has to stop these mules. They will take away hundreds of minerals away from him.
Yeah, they absolutely... Well, he's actually not even going to try and take a fight. He's just like, I give up on life.
That's so unfortunate watching
not
like
worth it.
114 supply go down like that, but congratulations to Beasty, who will qualify through the second and last European qualifier for the TING Open. So that really makes the qualifiers balanced now, because now for Europe, you've got 2 Zergs, a Terran, and a Protoss. That actually looks great.
This is pure balance right here. Guys, we've done it. No need to balance anymore. It's all good.
Save the game, balance the game, you name it. Yeah, so like, to recap really quick for those who haven't been around, the European qualifier totals now are Laser, Nurtio, Hearthstone, and Beasty. The Korean qualifiers are Super, Alive, Keen, and Patience. The North American ones and the wildcard ones still have to play out, but so far it's Volts and Major with Drogo and Solar. There have been really good qualifiers as far as results go. The qualifiers themselves have been a little bit janky, and I'm hoping that the invites will help really flesh this out. But man, had we known the qualifiers would have been so smooth, I would have loved to have done even more qualifiers and like not done a bunch of invites, because this went a billion times better than Season 1.
Yeah. I mean, smoother, just like, European was, oh my god. The first European qualifiers of double elimination, they took like 8 hours to finish. But also just, it's so nice to have the super, super balanced, really nice, stories and a lot of players that we highly enjoy watching. So everything's turning out great. Only thing that's bad are these technical problems, which is why I'm here and Rifkin's not.
I'm really hoping we get these resolved. I mean, it's nice having Zombie Grub on backup. And to be honest, like, in my perfect world, we would stream equal amounts of time. But, like, she's got wrist problems, and I don't want to put that burden on her if I can especially handle things. So I'm hoping to get things resolved for whenever we cast next time, which is tomorrow, actually. Funny enough, always casting every day, all day. We'll talk about our schedule, talk about giveaways, specifically giveaways, but also our sponsors and such when we return. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back after this ad break. I guess, do you have the videos? Do you want to play a word from Ting, or we just do the normal ad break?
I do have the videos, so just give me a second.
Okay, pick like any random video, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
But really quick, before we do, it's the wildcard qualifiers tomorrow, so I was looking up.
Yes. All right. See you guys in a few minutes. Okay. I'm
sure.
Rifkin. There you go. Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is the end of the stream, and the end of the almost the end of the qualifiers. As said before the break, wildcard qualifiers are happening tomorrow at 1 p.m. EST.
So yeah, an hour later, well, I guess the same time today ended up starting, but an hour later than supposed to. Hopefully we'll have an admin online for that one as well. But we're going to have to sit down and look at these qualifiers as well as the results in them, because the group stages start up actually pretty quickly. I think it's as soon as next week. Let me actually, because no, wait, we have the DreamHack Valencia stuff this weekend. Which, by the way, I guess to note, we will be casting the DreamHack Valencia North America and European qualifiers. The first TING group is actually going to be on the 8th. Yeah, that's the Korean group. The North American qualifier. What? Uh-oh, did I mess something up?
Yeah, wait, what is it? Go on. Wait a minute. You finish.
Okay, I was gonna say the North American qualifier finishes right next to the groups, but the North American group itself doesn't actually start till like the following week. So next week, like the 8th, is gonna be the first day of the groups for Ting.
Okay.
That'll be nice because those are going to be best of fives. Like I want to remind everybody, last season we had really great results making the group stages best of fives instead of best of threes. I think it resulted in better games. I know the feedback from almost every single player in the tournament was that they enjoyed it more. So hopefully we'll get good results and good stuff out of this one as well. So remember, the 8th is when the Korean group's going to be European group, wildcard group, but the North American group's a little bit behind the rest of them.
Yeah. I also just wanted to mention that, so not only doing this weekend the DreamHack qualifiers, with the Elite Leagues coming back, for anyone who's excited.
Sunday.
Yes, Sunday instead of Saturday just because of said DreamHack qualifiers, but it should be normal time, ideally, on Saturday.
Yeah, the idea is that we'll hopefully be able to finish up the Elima League before the DreamHack qualifiers even begin. But at any rate, congratulations again to Beastyqt and TLO, and I'm glad you guys were able to join us today, and we're sorry for the hiccups, and hopefully we'll have them resolved going forward. Shy of that, we got a couple of giveaways I want to talk about. If you type !G2A in chat, there's actually just this Twitter giveaway thing. But if you're a Twitch subscriber, you'll get 50 extra chances. If you follow the channel and follow the YouTube and all that stuff like that it presents, you'll have another chance to win. We're giving away 50 €10 cards, so you can get pretty much a game off, like third off most games, get some games for free. Make sure to enter in, because it doesn't ask you for your email or anything. You're just clicking like, oh, I followed the channel. Cool, great. Boom, there's your chance to win. Someone earlier was asking how the watch giveaways work with Yord. So I can't say that we're going to be doing it for every cast, but we'll always ask them to do it for every cast. But the way the watch giveaways work are you'll get a $150 code for requesting one of the discount codes during that tournament. But if you do it outside of it, you can just get the regular discount code. However, there's no giveaway unless it's actually the day of the tournament. They're trying to reward you for tuning in and watching their awesome tournament for them. Lastly, let's give you the arcade block thing. We have some things we need to sort out with them, because even though I'm really glad you guys have been screenshotting and sending your proofs of purchase, because right now they actually don't have any verification that you bought anything from us. So I guess the link's broken, or there's something broken on their end. We're working on getting it fixed. So again, it's really important that if you do buy a subscription to Arcade Block or Horror Block or anything on Nerd Block, that you send us your proof of purchase to get entered into the giveaway for the risk board, because otherwise you may not actually get counted at all due to some whatever technical problems. But that's my shouts for the giveaways. You do the sponsor stuff. Yo!
And no one saw that blip in the video in the background. Okay, yeah, so you talked about Yord. I guess like just in general. So besides the Civil War stuff, of course, Yord has $20 off. If you go to watches.com/base, if you're looking for, you actually are really interested in buying a watch, like for Father's Day, for instance, then definitely check that out and get the code and use it and be happy, I guess, with the purchase. We have G2A.com, of course, as always, 3% off using code BASE. So if you're looking for Overwatch or, Legacy of the Void looked really awesome today, then go ahead and get it from there and help us out as well. Cheers for gaming. BaseTradeTV is the code. Free shipping, free cushions, $200 off, and that is to both USA and Canada, just to make that very clear. And then last but not least, Corsair Gaming, of course. You look down below to all those links, the mouse pad, headset, mice, keyboard. We always show off the headset, so instead I'll give a little more attention to the mouse that I use. I actually, very specifically, I never thought this would actually happen, but someone was like, oh, I had a Zowie Maiko and it broke. Well, I actually had Zowie Maikos as well. It was my favorite mouse, and then I was given this one, and it's like almost the exact same thing. Like, it's super nice, super durable. It's pretty damn simple as well, which is always an appeal to me. I know like Rifkin has like one that has a bunch of buttons and stuff. So if you like those type of mouses, I suppose, definitely check out the Qatar, is what it's called. It's actually
smaller, so better for your hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's smaller. So if you know what a Zowie Maiko is, it's that small. Really nice for someone like me. And of course, the headsets and all that are great as well.
Okay. Actually, so I just had an idea of something I want to pitch before you finish selling out and going offline. Something interesting for discussion. I really like this clips thing on Twitch. Like, I think this is really fucking cool. I've never been a fan of Odd Shots or these other sites that basically steal our content, but this stays on our channel and it relays back to our channel, right? So I think the clips thing is really cool. So here's my thoughts. Like, I would love to get people starting to use clips, but it's probably gonna be hard to ask people to do like extra work for anything, right? What if we had like a contest, and maybe it's not even like a $50 G2A card because some people hate G2A. What if we do like a $50 Visa gift card or Amazon gift card giveaway or something, where we hold a contest for like get the best clips from our casts. We'll collect them all. We'll have people vote on them at the end of like every month or something, and then or even at the end of every week, depending on how lucrative, how costly the prizes are. But what do you think people would go for that?
I don't know. It's super easy. I almost wish that we could do it in alliance with Twitch, though, to be honest. Because it would feel more like people don't even know that clips exist.
Yeah, for
Like
those who don't
free
know, real quick,
advertising.
you're watching the stream right now, right? Like, and to explain how this works, like if you actually, there's a new option next to the bottom right. It looks like a you action the movie clapper thing. If you click on that, it just immediately will clip out like the past 15 seconds of the future, like 15 seconds, and put them in like this clip that you can share around. And that clip will link back to the video. It'll show a highlight of that moment that you thought was really cool. So, for example, with the TLO thing we clipped earlier, it shows the Banley hit and the few seconds leading into it, which I think is pretty cool. And I want more of that stuff because I love highlights. And we have so many, we cast so much, we just get so much cool shit that gets lost in the VODs. And I would love to be able to make proper highlight reels and stuff, but that's too much work and too difficult to do, even with a YouTube manager like Nice Username helping us out. So clips seem like an easy solution to that.
They do. Might be worth it. You guys let us know, I suppose, in chat if that's something that you'd be interested in constantly being on the lookout for, since it is pretty easy to do.
Yeah, by the time we're offline, we'll be reading chat, of course, but it's food for thought. It's not something we're saying we're definitively doing. It's just an idea that seems really cool, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. Talk about the t-shirts.
Gaming, everyone else, blah, blah, blah. T-shirts, yeah. Just scroll down below on the Twitch page, guys. Just check out all the good stuff. Click those links. Get yourself some cool stuff hooked up for as little as we can sell it for, at least. But that does pretty much wrap it up. So we don't really have anything else coming up today. Again, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I'm going to spend the other half of today, I guess, trying to figure out what's wrong with my computer. But we get some pretty cool people online streaming. So I'm thinking we go host... oh, Nate's actually doing a rerun. Whoa,
Yeah.
I've never seen Nate do a rerun before. I was going
He's
to host
been
him.
experimenting with it.
Okay, well, Crank's playing StarCraft, and Crank's pretty awesome, guys. Let's go host up Crank. So, guys, do us a favor. Before we go offline with the channel, head over to Crank's channel. Hit him up with some Ace 1s, some Ace 2s. Give him some love. Check out what he's doing, and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow with the wildcard qualifiers for TING. Goodbye!
Bye!